Okay, good evening, everybody. It's just 6 o'clock, so we'll start the meeting. Thank you for attending this meeting of Cabinet on Wednesday, the 14th of January, 2026. It's the first meeting we've had since we learnt of the sad passing of former Councillor Mal Donoghue. I believe his funeral details have now been released. It's next Wednesday at 1:30 at Chine at Richard. So for those of you who can, please do make the effort to attend. Mal was a fine councillor and a good friend to many. I'm sure we'll say much more at full council in 2 weeks' time. But in the meantime, I wonder if I could ask you all just to stand and give a minute to remember Mal. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'll now outline some housekeeping rules. There are no fire alarms, so if it does sound, please leave via the emergency exits behind me. Could I ask you all to put your mobile phone on to silent, or if you're very brave, switch it off. I know I have panic attacks if I switch mine off, so you'll forgive me if I just put it on silent. Members of Cabinet are here in person at the Civic Centre, along with senior officers. Other members of the Council may also dial into the meeting via Teams to either just observe or indeed to participate in the meeting. Please note this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube, and the web link for this can be found on the Council's website. For those who are dialing in on Teams, please remember to use the raised hand function, and I'll do my best to pick up when you want to speak. And if you can keep your microphone on mute and only unmute when they are invited to speak, that would be most helpful. I'll now move on to the first item on the agenda, and that's apologies for absence.
Yes, Chair, I've got apologies from Councillor Jackie Alty.
Okay, so apologies from Jackie are noted. I have exchanged messages with Jackie recently. Her recovery continues, although it is frustratingly slow, and those of us who know Jackie can only imagine how frustrated she is. Declarations of interest. If a member has a pecuniary interest, they are requested to leave the meeting completely, and you can then rejoin the meeting before following the completion of the item in question. I'll just give notice I'm going to declare a personal but non-pecuniary interest in the item on the mayoralty. I'm not intending to leave the room, but I won't take part in the vote, just so that everybody can see everything is being done above board. Can I ask members now to look at the minutes of the meeting on Wednesday the 26th of November, which is when Cabinet last met. Can I ask if members agree they are an accurate record? I'm seeing nods around the room. Anybody want to bring anything up about those minutes? Nobody in the room? Anyone online? Okay, so we do need a vote just to approve those minutes. So I propose those. All in favour? So they have been approved. Thank you. The Cabinet Forward Plan, as usual, is brought forward to Cabinet. A live document that can be accessed using the link in the minutes, and is always there to inform members what Cabinet is intending to do over the coming weeks and months. Anybody want to raise anything on the forward plan? Anybody online? No? Okay, so we come to item 5, nomination of Mayor-elect and Deputy Mayor-elect for 26-27. As I said, at this stage, I will declare a personal but non-pecuniary interest and take no further part in the debate. Councillor Bielinski-Gelder.
Thank you, Councillor Tomlinson. So simply, I would like to make the recommendations to Council that Councillor Caleb Tomlinson, who is currently the Deputy Mayor, isn't he, be nominated as the Mayor-elect for 2026-27, which I thoroughly look forward to. I think he's done a really good job this year supporting the current Mayor, Councillor Paul Wharton-Hardman, and point 3, the recommendation that Councillor Ian Watkinson be nominated Deputy Mayor-elect for 26-27 with a view to becoming the Mayor in 2027-28. Thank you. I propose this to Cabinet and look for a seconder.
More than happy to second.
All right, we'll go to the vote then. Everybody in favour of nominating? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, I'm back in the room. Congratulations to Councillor Tomlinson and Councillor Watkinson, and we look forward to an exciting and successful year as the one we're currently enjoying under Councillor Wharton-Hardman. So we'll move on now to item 6, the Digital Strategy 25-28. Councillor Bielinski-Gelder to present this item and propose to Cabinet.
Thank you again, Councillor Tomlinson. I'm really excited to be introducing this strategy. I think I was involved at the start of the first one when we first took over in 2019. That has run out in 2024, and it isn't a statutory strategy that we need, but the officers are really keen to make sure that we keep pushing forward on the digital, making sure that officers are capable and they have all the equipment they need to do the jobs to the best. So just quickly, our previous strategy laid the essential foundation by aligning systems and moving them to the cloud. This new strategy builds on that groundwork. We're now entering a phase where we'll use technology to continue delivering tangible benefits which will directly improve the lives of our residents and the work of our staff. The strategy has 4 simple aims. The first is better digital services for people. This means helping our communities get out online confidently and continuing to make our customer services like forms and portals easier to use. Second, the better connected borough. We will work to improve digital connectivity across our borough, use newer technology improvements in CCTV for public safety. The third point is better digital tools for our staff. We will equip our teams with the skills and technology they need to work effectively and securely, including careful pilots of new tools like AI, which we're all aware of, to help with internal tasks. And the fourth and final is better use of our data. We'll improve how we use information to plan and deliver services and manage our assets. This strategy is our roadmap to a modern, efficient and responsive council. The joint strategy will be supported by a specific South Ribble action plan detailing our local priorities and steps to deliver these benefits for our residents. I ask the Cabinet to approve this new digital strategy for 2025-28. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bielinski-Gelder. A part of the world that's constantly changing, and it's really important that as an organisation we do our best to keep pace. I'm happy to second that proposal, and I'll now open the debate up to the floor if anybody has any contributions they wish to make. Cabinet members first. No. Members not on Cabinet. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Leader. I'm just pleased that there's been some consultation with our environment team as well, because obviously AI can in our own hands draw quite a lot of power. So I'm just quite happy that we're looking at that at the same time. So it's a good teamwork there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that positive contribution. Anybody else in the room want to contribute? Not seeing anybody. Anybody online? Not seeing any hands. Okay, so that item has been proposed and seconded. Can I see all those in favour? Cabinet members only. Thank you, that is unanimous. Thank you, Councillor Bilinski-Gelder. Move on to item number 7, the draft 26-27 budget update to be presented by Councillor Roberts. Wes.
Thank you very much, Leader. It gives me great pleasure to put this consultation in front of Cabinet tonight. And that is what it is. It will go out to consultation for the public to hear their views. Just a little bit on context. Can you hear me? A little bit louder. Just a little bit on context before I kind of get into the meat of it. This year, the government formula for funding local councils has changed. There's a strong focus on deprivation, and that does see that South Ribble is going to lose about £1.4 million over the next 2 financial years. And also, we do have a new burden in the sense of, well, that's what we refer to in local government, a new burden, a new task, a new statutory service, which is collecting food waste from April. And that's been a commitment from the previous 2 successive governments. As of yet, we are yet to see any extra money for that service, and we think it's going to cost us about £1 million. So whilst there are some tricky things that we're tackling with, and the team have done a great job to help us deliver what I'd like to see as a resident in a budget, and I think about what I'd like to see, and the 3 words that came to mind were fairness, robustness and ambition. And I'll just say a little bit more on them 3 things this evening. So in terms of fairness and how that's delivered through this proposed budget, we're proposing a 1.9% council tax increase, which is half the rate of inflation, at a time where we as a council are seeing rising costs, but also our residents are seeing a rise of cost of living. We're all feeling the squeeze, aren't we? We want to do what we can to help everyone, and that increase would see no household paying more than an extra £10 from the South Ribble council tax money that we pay, because we do only keep 10% of council tax that residents pay in Lancashire, and I think in South Ribble. Often residents don't really remember that for what we deliver on 10% of council tax, along with the government grant. So this will allow us to continue to deliver high quality statutory services, but also focus on areas of need where our residents our most vulnerable residents need our support, and we'll continue to do that and focus on delivering services that are preventative, like our social prescribing service that the Councillor Bilinski-Gelder and the communities team have done an amazing job on, and we will continue to see that grow from strength to strength. In terms of delivering ambition, this budget will see us be able to support our community grants, community organisations by having a pot of £400,000 for our community organisations to bid in for, to support them in being sustainable in the future. It allocates £1 million towards affordable housing. We know there's a dire need for more affordable housing in the borough, and whilst we've delivered quite a lot as an organisation in quite a short space of time through direct delivery, and we continue to deliver lots through the planning system as well, and we will continue to do so. We want to do more and step into that space where we can, where the private sector might not necessarily be building, especially kind of around 1 and 2 bedroom houses. So that part will allow us to do that. And also we'll continue with our ambition and our delivery on the Leyland Town deal and the Penwortham Master Plan. And this budget would provide the robustness to facilitate that capital programme. On robustness, I'd just like to thank the team because it is a really credible situation. It's a balanced budget that's being proposed for this year. There is a financial gap in the medium-term financial strategy, but we will continue to knuckle down. And as people refer to in the outside world, is that, there's so much waste here and there. Well, you know what, we will continue to innovate, and so far the Fit for the Future programme in this council is going to save £1 million next financial year, and following year it will save another £500,000. We will continue to innovate, but we've got to bear in mind that also our staffing costs that deliver these core services is about 75% of our budget as well. So we'll continue to be ambitious in a fair and robust way, and I'm pleased to propose this consultation to go out for Cabinet approval. I think it's point 3, the recommendations are there, if someone was willing to second.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts, for that nice summing up of the situation that we find ourselves in. I'm happy to second that proposal. And I think, you know, to reflect on the fact that this is the 7th Labour budget that's been delivered, 7th consecutive Labour budget. We froze council tax on 3 of those occasions. We're now going for half the rate of inflation this year, despite the pressures we're in. And we've never raised council tax in all those 7 years above the rate of inflation. And if you look at the table that shows the council tax bands of the district councils across Lancashire, we're falling down that league table and getting nearer and nearer to the is it 3 councils now that in Lancashire that charge less than us for a Band D property? And I think that's been a gradual thing. I think, to be fair, over the years, this council has had a good reputation for financial management, but I'm particularly proud of what we've achieved over the last 7 years. So thank you for your presentation. I'm happy to second that this goes out to consultation ahead of approval later on in the year when we come into the budget setting process. Anybody on Cabinet wish to add anything or contribute to the debate? Councillor Farnworth.
Thanks, Councillor Tomlinson. Just wanted to echo everything Councillor Roberts and yourself has stated. Just want to put on record thanks to Councillor Roberts, Neil and the finance team, who I know have worked their socks off, especially over the last couple of months with all the changes from the government, etc. So I know it's really well appreciated. I think the 1.9% gives us a happy medium with a small below inflation increase. And we can still deliver all the services that we continue to do, going beyond the call of duty with things like our community work and our social prescribing, etc. And I'm just really happy that I want to approve this.
Good, thank you for that. Anybody else in the room want to contribute? I'm not seeing any hands. Anybody online? No? Oh, Councillor Burrows, you were just in time. But if you want to find yourself a microphone.
Thank you. I'm just not sure at what point, or if at all, at this meeting I should raise things like this. So I wonder if you could advise me. It's just, I realise it's because of the Cabinet member. I know it will be under his portfolio, but I realise that was council tax, having walked in late. But I'm just wondering about the consultation with regards to the car park charges across the borough. I mean, that will be going into the financial plan for next year, won't it? So at what point, is there a point that I would ask a question about that here?
Wes, do you want to respond to that?
And I do have a follow-on question that again is under finance. If you don't mind.
We are particularly talking about the budget, obviously, at the moment.
Yeah,
but
so this,
if Wes can point in the right direction,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Councillor Tomlinson. Yeah, obviously there's been a recent consultation on car parking charges. We're still going through a lot of the responses. In terms of the technical question around kind of what assumptions made on income targets, I think they've stayed the same. Yeah, they've stayed the same from last financial year based on this budget. I think that's a kind of prudent thing to do because we've not made a decision on the consultation.
Okay, so as yet you don't know whether that will be in the budget. And the other thing
I think actually it's not in the budget.
Okay.
So we're setting a budget presuming the status quo.
Okay.
So it's not
so
in the
as
budget.
yet there's no car parking charges. Brilliant. And the other thing I just wanted to ask was about retail and rents for retail shops, because I've recently been approached by some of the traders at Kingsfell trading area, and one of the small traders, which is making her worried about whether she may have to move her business and work from home, which will end up with an empty retail unit there, because she's been told that from August this year, rent will be increased by the sum of £2,500 per annum. And she said that is enough to actually, she said that coupled with the fact she employs 2 staff, that is enough to push her over the edge. And she's looking at alternative ways of running her business. And then speaking to another trader...
Councillor Burrows,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
sorry
not quite
if this
sure
is,
how...
I'm sorry if this is the wrong
Yeah,
environment. I'm still learning and I'm not sure
Yeah,
at
we
what
are
committee I bring
specifically
these.
discussing the budget.
Okay.
If you want to...
But that will be the budget, won't it?
No,
Because
no,
the
it's not in the
rents
budget.
will
If
go
you want
up.
to
Okay.
raise these issues with Councillor Roberts individually,
Yeah.
because he is the Cabinet member,
Yeah.
not just for finance, but for assets.
Okay.
So if the businesses you refer to are in buildings that are owned by
Yes,
the
they are.
council,
They
then
are.
it's absolutely appropriate for you to raise that with Councillor Roberts,
Yes.
but just not at the moment in this
Okay.
part of the agenda.
Okay,
Is
that's
that
fine.
okay?
So I'll
Good.
email him.
Yeah, please do.
Raise it at council.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, I think I did ask online, so nobody else wants to contribute on the budget consultation, so can I see all those in favour as was going out on that? And that again is unanimous, so thank you for that. Move on, item 8, it's you again, Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Leader. This is the report that sets out the current position around fees and charges and making proposals for the next financial year. And it states that increases will be implemented from the 1st of April. This will go out to consultation as well. And the assumptions in this paper are embedded in the draft budget. So happy to propose recommendations 2, 3, 4 and 5 to Cabinet.
Okay, thank you, and I'm happy to second that proposal. Anybody in Cabinet want to comment on the fees and charges paper? Anybody else in the room? No, but anybody online? Okay, not seeing any comments on that at all. So that being proposed and seconded, we'll move to the vote. All those in favour? And that is approved unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Roberts. So that seems to be the end of your duties this evening, so thank you for that. So we'll move on to item 9, the response to the Misogyny Working Group report. This comes under the portfolio of Councillor Alty, who is unfortunately can't be with us. I'm delighted to say that Councillor Pritchard has taken up that part of Councillor Alty's work in her absence, and I believe you're going to present this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tomlinson. So I'm very pleased to present the report on behalf of Councillor Alty. The purpose of the report is to respond to the findings and recommendations of the Misogyny Working Group, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Chair, Vice Chair and members of the group for all of their hard work. The background to the development of the recommendations can be found on page 88 to 96. And there are actually 21 recommendations with aligned key actions. These have been incorporated into the Equality, Diversity Strategy and Action Plan, and a board has been established which will be chaired by Councillor Alty, which will have oversight of that delivery. Representatives from the Misogyny Working Group have actually been invited to sit on the board as well, so that's really helpful. So looking at the actions, of the 21 actions, we have 9 that are actually been completed. And it's really pleasing that these are actions to raise awareness both with staff, councillors and the wider public about misogyny, about how to recognise it, how to report it if you see it. We've got a page on the council's website now for residents to see, and there's been a lot of work with staff, and this will be continued with some training moving forward. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the staff, Caroline Wolfenden and her team, for all of the hard work in getting these actions to completion. There are 6 actions that are ongoing. One of the things I'm really pleased to see is that many of these are working with young people. So our active health team, our social prescribers and our communities team are all going to be working together and within the schools to get this onto the agenda where appropriate, and to work with both young boys and young girls to talk about experiences of misogyny and to look at positive male masculinity. I think one of the things that is really interesting when you look at the recommendations is the impact of social isolation in young people. And so this is really pleasing to see that there's going to be some work again on that. It's really, really important to say that there's lots of ongoing work. The work that the Misogyny Working Group are progressing contributes to existing work. So some examples for that would be, we've got awareness stands in leisure centres, we operate a sanctuary scheme, we work with agencies such as Key Unlocking Futures and Lancashire Victim Services. So this is work that the council's already taken forward, and the really good work the Misogyny Working Group have done will actually enhance this. So in finalising, I'd just like to ask Cabinet to endorse the report of the Misogyny Working Group. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchard, for stepping in so expertly. It's really appreciated. Now, the technicalities mean that Councillor Pritchard, of course, can't propose this because she's not a member of Cabinet, but I'm happy to propose that Cabinet supports the recommendations in this report. Look for a seconder. Councillor Galinsky-Gelder, thank you.
Happy to.
We'll now open it up to debate. Anybody in Cabinet wish to comment? Councillor Farnworth.
Thanks, Councillor Tomlinson. It's a really good report, and I can see the amount of time and effort that's gone into the piece of work in terms of misogyny and ways that we can help try and combat it. I'm also really proud to be sat on a cabinet that's more or less gender equal, and we all believe in equality and equity. And it's good to see that 21 recommendations have been set out here, and as Councillor Pritchard said, 9 of them have so far been completed, which include things like guidance and e-learning for our staff, so like training courses for us elected members, and how the work of the group can better influence outside the council and via education. It's really pleasing that the report also talks about violence against women and girls, and I'm particularly pleased in point 13, where it states that we've been looking about the feasibility of launching a Safe Places scheme to help support women and girls here in South Ribble. I think it'll enable our residents, neighbourhoods and district centres to have safe places throughout the borough, so whether it be a council property, shops, licensed premises and so on. So not only will it benefit women and girls, but the most vulnerable in our borough, and it'll act as a real good addition to things like we've already got, like the dementia-friendly places, for instance. And it'll hopefully give us the ability to actually measure how successful the scheme is and sort of record potential incidents, because I know the report mentions Ask for Angela, which is a really good scheme, but obviously its impact really relies on sort of the volunteers of through licensed premises, and Ask Angela can't be recorded, where I think schemes like this are really good to provide us with hardcore data. And also on that point, it also mentions the promotion of the Hollyguard app. I don't know if anyone here has used it, and I know it's advocated by the police. It's really useful, and I'd recommend it to anyone. Now, I know that the Police and Crime Commissioner for Lancashire is sort of in talks in terms of potential licences for service users to use, so that's hopefully in the fruition. And in terms of point 10, in terms of displaying posters, I think it'd be really good to link in with the Office of Police and Crime Commissioner, because they've done quite a lot of work on that already over the recent couple of months, and I know they've done some publications that would be, just to save sort of duplication on that. So I think there's some really good suggestions in it, and again, want to thank the work that Councillor Stevens has done and yourself. And I think it'd be great, and this is just my personal opinion, if we could maybe, as a council, maybe do a bit more on the sort of VARG side of things, particularly with the government recently launching the National VARG Strategy last month. So I'm sure that there's plenty that we can be looking to focus on. And finally, I've gone on a bit, but I won't take too much. And in terms of the park strategy that I'll be presenting later on, we're also looking at ways in which we can look how we can improve the experience of women and girls in our parks and open spaces to help them feel more safer.
Okay, thank you for that. Clearly someone who's read the report and looked at its implications, which is always reassuring. Thank you, Councillor Fanworth. Councillor Belinsky-Gelder, do you want to respond?
Yeah, well, no, I just want to make another comment. No, I just think that I'm just really pleased to see this report come so quickly after the misogyny working group report was completed, and how you've looked at each department in the council and to see how it can impact. And I can see from this report that social prescribing is mentioned a few times, which sits under my portfolio, as well as the youth council. And so it's just pleasing to see that, because strategies like that one could just be left on the shelf to gather dust. And I think that, you know, that is the temptation to say, oh, you know, if none of the councils are talking about it anymore and they're happy with the report, that we just, you know, we just move on. But just to see it working in conjunction with the equalities team as well, it's just, I just think it's really impressive how quickly it's come on, how it's far-reaching across the council, and hopefully it will have the impact that we really want it to have in for the borough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the room want to contribute? Other than Councillor Pritchard, I'm not letting you come back. Councillor Pillinger.
Yeah, I'm grateful for this report, and just to mention at the end of it, the last few things, recognise that we cannot deal with the problems of misogyny without supporting our young men. And the last week's emphasis in the news on Grok and the AI problems just show that we can't leave this and expect somebody else to deal with it. It has to be an active response to this problem across all the councils of the country. And I don't think AI and Grok are going to go away because of the problems of it being A, outside this country's control, and B, the nature of the ownership of some of our public media, our social media. But I'm grateful for this report, and I'm grateful to see that it's not just a punctiliar report, but something that's going to carry on that work.
Thank you, Councillor Pillinger. Anybody else in the room? Anybody online want to contribute? No? Okay, so that has been proposed and seconded. So we're asked Cabinet to endorse the report. Can I see all those in favour? And again, that is unanimous. Thank you. So we'll move on to agenda item number 10 now, which is to be introduced by the Cabinet Member for Planning and Licensing, Councillor Sharples.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, we're bringing forward the Infrastructure Funding Statement for 2024-25, which is a statutory requirement under the SIL regulations. It sets out what we've collected and what we've spent through SIL and Section 106 monies over the last financial year. This year we collected just over 4.6 million in SIL and 1.64 million in S106 monies, and those contributions have helped deliver some excellent projects such as Jubilee Gardens and the Mackenzie Arms, both affordable housing projects, improvements to various parks and playgrounds, and the new 3G sports pitches and pavilion at Withy Grove. The statement also shows what's committed but not yet spent, and as City Deal winds down over the next 18-24 months, SRBC have a greater ability to set their own local priorities for future SIL investment. Tonight's request is simply to note the summary and support the publication of the IFS on the website in line with our statutory duties. Some key points. Statutory and audit compliance. We are required to publish the IFS every year, and taking it through Cabinet ensures that we meet the audit standards. Good news, visible delivery. The contributions this year have delivered a huge amount of real, tangible investment for residents, homes, parks, pitches, play areas, etc. The city deal transition, which ends in the next 18 to 24 months, so the council will soon have a much stronger role in setting priorities for SIL spending through the infrastructure development plan. And of course, transparency. Publishing the IFS ensures we remain open and transparent about how developer money is spent. Appendix A is the report, it's the summary itself, and the statement that goes on the website you can find at Appendix B. It's an excellent report, and I'm really, really grateful that Gail's team managed to get this out more or less on time, in light of the fact that they are absolutely embroiled in the local plan and have been for some months, which is creeping towards a conclusion. So on behalf of the Cabinet, I'd like to say to Gail, you pass on our thanks, because it's really, really well done and appreciated. And it is for noting, but any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't recall this coming to Cabinet before. Is that right? No, it's been published, but not come to Cabinet before. But as part of the openness and transparency and celebrating good news, I think it's entirely appropriate that it does come to Cabinet. So thank you for bringing it to us.
Leader, I think that's because of an audit. There's an audit done some time ago, and it was agreed that we would bring it to Cabinet.
No, and fully supportive of it. Anybody else in Cabinet want to comment? Okay, no. Anybody in the room? No. Anybody online? No. So we've been asked to note it, but we've agreed to publish it. Is that what I'm being told?
To approve is point 2.
No. So we will do a vote, because on point 2 where it says note, later on it says to approve. So just in future, if we could have the approval first in the agenda, that would be really useful. So can we all agree to approving the publication of that? And of course that's unanimous, so thank you for that. Thank you, Councillor Sharples. Another good news story, I think, and another positive thing. We've got item 11, it's the Parks, Play and Open Spaces strategy to be presented by Councillor Farnworth.
Thanks, Councillor Tomlinson. So agenda item 11, which is the Parks, Play and Open Space strategy. So the report presents the draft Safe Ribble Parks, Play and Open Spaces strategy for Cabinet to endorse before moving on to Council for adoption. The strategy includes a 6-year investment and delivery plan. The report is asking Cabinet to approve the 15 projects proposed in the first 2 years. Finally, the proposed strategy has been identified as a corporate project for the year starting November 2025 through to November 2026. So I'd like Cabinet to approve recommendations 2 to 8, and I'll just give a bit of context. So I personally like to thank Gail, Neil and all of our parks team for the wonderful job they've done, not just to compile this report, but for the great job they do in all of our parks and open spaces, including our 5 green flag ones, one of which, Worden Park, was recently nominated as one of the top 10 green flag parks in the UK. We've managed to do around 17 playgrounds since this administration took over in 2019, which is a fantastic achievement. Projects like saving the Strawberry Valley Park, thanks to our 2 councillors, Pete and Hindle Taylor, the restoration of Hurst Grange Coach House, the creation of Farrington Moss Park, improvements to Withy Grove Play Area, refurbishment of Tardygate Park in Lostock Hall, as well as refurbishments to Worden Hall, and many, many more. Now, we've really got to look to the future, and a lot of work has gone into this report, and I know all members will be eager for improvements to parks and open spaces within their wards and areas, but in reality, we have to stick to a certain budget. Now, projects highlighted in the investment and delivery plan that's attached are proposed to be funded. So, for instance, years 1 to 2 will be fully funded, with years 3 to 6 will be funded through unspecified developer contributions. So we'll bring them forward as and when we get through the programme. Now, in the report, it's got a number of maps and keys which show members the plan works and works that have already taken place. I think that's really useful. I like to point out to members that the strategy looks to enhance sustainability, green spaces and protects and enhances biodiversity throughout Safe Ribble. We'll also look to continue to work with our fantastic numerous friends of groups who help make our open spaces and parks look fantastic. We're currently developing and will deliver an events policy which will include promotion of our local events at our main parks as part of our cultural strategy, which will be due out soon. And moreover, we'll also look to improve physical, mental health and the safety within our green spaces and parks. So we're looking at improvements to things such as lighting and CCTV, as well as working with community groups. Like we've discussed previously in the other agenda item, this will hopefully lead to enable women and girls and our communities to feel safer. So a really good success story. You know, we've done a lot of work, great work previously, but we've got a lot to deliver on. So I'd hope Cabinet can endorse these recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Farnworth, and I'm happy to second those. There are clearly some specific recommendations, but in the appendices you'll see plans for others to come to follow on that are not within the recommendations, and we look forward to delivering all those as well as soon as we can. I'm really proud of, like I said, really proud of what we've done on our parks and playgrounds in the last 7 years, and I know that we are the envy of many councils in Lancashire, and I've seen more than a couple of comments online. We always read other councils' reports online and look to see what other residents are saying, and residents in other districts are telling their councils to look at what South Ribble's done on parks. Now, it's not for me to revel in the fact that other districts are being told off by their residents, but when residents in other districts are saying, look at what South Ribble are doing, I think that's something we ought to be really, really proud of. Anybody in Cabinet want to add anything to this? Councillor Roberts.
Thank you very much, Leader. Yeah, I just wanted to add, I was really pleased to see the report. Really shows our ambition in this space. As ward member for Buxton and Worden, I'm really pleased to see the fountain in Worden Park being restored is in there. But also as Cabinet member for Finance Assets, because it means Worden Hall's going to be a bit more attractive as a wedding venue as well. So you're really pleased to see the strategy, but also kind of, I think it's a testament to the leadership of the council in terms of, you know, not just politically, but officers as well, because the maturity of the system working together with parks and open spaces, planning, funding local infrastructure, investing in local communities, and then back into communities in terms of, you know, physical and mental health. So it's a really, really good piece of work. I look forward to seeing the fountain up and running and other projects.
I mean, we've had ambitions around the fountain for maybe 3 or 4 years now, but I think getting that going again will be really emblematic of the work, and it'll be something that we can point to and say to people, you know, it's not just about swings and slides, but look at, you know, it'll be a real focal point on what is already a fantastic park, award-winning, top 10 in the country park. Anybody else on Cabinet? Councillor Unsworth, and then I've got Councillor Hunter.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the report. It is really good. I fully support everything that's in it, but I'd like to just say I'm particularly happy with the reference to the fact that you looked at the biodiversity strategy and that you're considering flood management as well, because those are two really important things for the future. Thank you.
I think it's a great report. But talking about something I've always been interested in is the CCTV and the light. Very pleased to see that's included, because that is a safety measure, not just for women and children, but for men as well, for everybody. So I'm really, really pleased that's been included properly.
Okay, anybody else on Cabinet? No. Anyone else in the room? Councillor Stringfellow, did you indicate you wanted to speak? No, just scratching your head. Yeah, no, okay. Anybody else in the room? No, we've got one speaker who's dialing in on Teams. Councillor Green.
Good evening, Councillor Thompson. Thank you. Can I thank Councillor Farnworth for presenting the report this evening, and thank our officers for the work that has been done and the work that will be done in the future. It's pleasing to see. Can I specifically refer to the improvements which were included in the report for Paradise Park in the Moss Side ward, which I welcome those coming forward now, which of course were funded by the developer contributions, which we fought for many years to secure as part of the test track development. for the benefit of the Moss Side residents existing and the new residents on Centurion Village. So it's pleasing that they are coming forward. While speaking, can I also make a comment? There's a number of references in the report to parks and areas in Farrington Park, Farrington Moss Park, Farrington Lodges, etc. And they're all described as being located in Leyland. I think the residents may take exception to that. So whether that could be picked up in the report and make a reference to them actually being in Farrington. But otherwise, I welcome the report and thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Green. I'm sure that can be changed before it goes to full council. We don't want to upset anyone in Farrington, do we? No, so I'm sure that can be amended. Okay, I don't see any more people wishing to contribute. So there are recommendations 2 through to 8 that we need to vote on. I don't intend to take them one by one. I'll take them en bloc. If Taz agrees that that is appropriate, I always defer to Taz. That is appropriate, yes. I don't need to ask, she will tell me. But so we'll vote for those en bloc. Can I see all those in favour? And that is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Fantastic report that looks back at some of the great work we've done and celebrates the work still to come. So, great stuff. We move to item 12 on the agenda, the Lancashire Local Nature Recovery Strategy. Councillor Unsworth.
Thank you, Leader. I'm pleased to present the Lancashire Local Nature Recovery Strategy that's been developed as a requirement under the Environment Act of 2021. It was led by Lancashire County Council with support from all the district and unitary authorities, including South Ribble. I'd like to acknowledge the significant input from both Neil Anderson's Parks and Open Spaces team and Joe Beeman's Climate Change team. There was extensive consultation in the summer 2025 where over 85% agreed on clarity and priorities, and there were no major objections or changes were raised or made. The Cabinet approval today is required to enable Lancashire County Council to submit the final strategy to the Secretary of State by the 16th of January, Friday. This strategy represents a significant step forward in aligning our local priorities with national commitments, and its publication will demonstrate our collective support for nature recovery across Lancashire. It sets out priorities, maps key habitats, and identifies opportunities to enhance biodiversity and wider environmental goals. Additionally, it sets out clear priorities for nature recovery, looking at biodiversity net gain in developments, restoration of the Ribble Corridor, urban greening, woodland expansion and community engagement. The strategy underpins the National Nature Recovery Network and supports South Ribble's corporate priorities, particularly but not exclusively green and clean neighbourhoods, by helping us to get closer to net zero, enhance air quality, improve flood risk management, increase community well-being and climate resilience, as well as supporting healthier neighbourhoods and sustainable growth. By embedding these priorities into our planning and action frameworks, we can ensure that the investments in housing, infrastructure and public spaces also strengthen our natural environment. So the recommendations specific to South Ribble include adopting the LNRS priorities formally within South Ribble's local plan and biodiversity action plan, to be involved in commissioning a Ribble Corridor project group to align flood resilience, habitat restoration and community engagement, along with launching an urban greening programme in Leyland, Penwortham and Bamber Bridge, focusing on pollinator corridors and canopy expansions. So in short, the report seeks Cabinet approval for the final Lancashire Local Nature Recovery Strategy, confirming SRBC's support and noting strong public consultation backing and highlighting its role in climate, biodiversity and wellbeing goals.
Thank you. A really interesting report, actually. I know we've had the consultation previously, and it's good that we've got to this stage. Just shows what a fantastic part of the country we live in. I think anybody south of Watford probably thinks of Lancashire as being cobbles and whippets and flat caps, and we know it's not like that. And I kind of say any report that talks about the melancholy thistle and you know, the dwarf, what's a dwarf? Can I ask you, what's a dwarf cornel? It's a big test. Can we just have it minuted that our cabinet member did not know the answer to the question posed by the leader? I'm happy to second your proposal that we agree to give permission for this to be published. Anybody else on cabinet have any contributions? No. Anybody in the room? Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Leader. Although we're talking about the South Ribble contribution to this, I mean, we live in Lancashire, the county of Lancashire, and for me being here now for just over 20 years, it's always been a pleasure just to go outside the door. I mean, I sit in my new house, if that's what you want to call it, and listen to about 3 different types of birds of prey killing small things. But the other part of that is we are all part of Lancashire, and adopted people or not, and many of us here have helped run and visited campaigns in other areas of Lancashire, and a campaign against the unnecessary destruction of wild animals, which we do, and I think we'll continue to do. So it's good to see that we are taking part of this. I did have a worry earlier on last year that this may be sullied in any way, but I'm glad that it's been seen through, and we've had a good impact on that, and I can only congratulate the team and Councillor Unsworth for the magnificent work that we do and continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Martin, for reminding us that nature results in small things being killed. Anybody online want to contribute? No? Okay, so that will require a vote. It's been proposed and seconded. Can I see all those in favour? And that is carried. Thank you. So we move to item 13. We are about to begin to discuss some items which are commercially sensitive. So we are, sadly now have to ask to consider the exclusion of the press and public from the following items of business on the grounds that involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3, part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. I'm going to propose that. Can I have a seconder? Can I see all those in favour?
Seconded.
Thank you. All those in favour?